Growing up, I wanted to be either an archaeologist or a mechanic. It wasn't until I was in high school, like my senior year, the Art Institute of Philadelphia came. And I didn't even know you could go to school for art. Oh. That was the first time I found out. I was like, what? Wow. That's definitely where I'm going then. What the heck? So that's what I did. I'm self-proclaimed saying that I am a passive-aggressive artist. I tend to do, like, when you first look at my pieces, either they're going to shock you or you're going to be like, okay. And then as you keep looking at it, you're like, oh, wait, it's not a flower. It's a flower, but it's not a flower. Or I tend to put gold in all of my paintings. I like to kind of think of myself as having a Midas touch, and that everything I touch turns to gold. So each piece that I do have a piece of gold that is somewhere within that piece that attaches it to the other one. And I have a strong feminine, like feminism, underground thing to some of my pieces as well. The most recent one that I did was the orchid painting, which is a blend between an orchid and a clit. Blended those two together.
I thought that one looked like something.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was supposed to, because you know, a lot of times women call it their flower. Right. You know, back in the day, they used to call it that, and you don't let anybody deflower you, and how delicate it is. And if you ever research orchids, you will find out that they are the most closely related that looks like a woman's vagina than any other thing in nature. So.
I'm glad to know I'm not a perv.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what you thought it was.
You definitely incorporate breast in a lot of your pieces in some way. Is there any particular reason why that part of the woman's body? Because there are more parts of the woman's body, but usually the femininity that you really show is really the breast.
Partially, I think most of it is because it's a life source. You know what I mean? If you give birth, you have to feed your child.
It's a lifeline.
Yes, lifeline. And then that's also one of the most delicate things of a woman, you know. Even though sometimes it didn't get sexualized a lot, it's still a lot about it. Like, in nature, you know, that's one of the things that they say is besides a woman's, like, breasts, that's one of the things that men are like attracted to, and depending on the size and things of that nature, it's almost similar to like how baboons have the red bottoms, and like with certain types of the red bottoms, certain males are attracted to that. And they say about women that are bottom heavy are easier to carry, it's easier for them to carry children, so subconsciously your animal instinct is kicking in anyway.
I am an animal, I guess.
Bad Kitti comes from my obsession with the 1950s, 1940s, 60s pinup era. Love it. I think it was, even the prostitutes were classy looking back then. Like it was just a certain type of class to everything. I liked the dressing, the way that the homes were, and I've always liked that type of expression that, you know, women were still, they can be either more masculine or feminine, but at the end of the day they still had this like dainty, delicate, like classy touch to them. So the bad comes from the parts of the things that I do paint, like a lot of breasts, or I will paint vagina, or whatever I'm really in the mood for. I have a painting that's got tassels hanging off the breast of one of my pieces. So that's where the bad comes from, because yeah, I may look sweet, but I got a little more edge to me than that. And then the kitty just comes from, back in the day, the different types of names that women had, like Bunny and Frenchie and Kitty and things of that nature. So I was like, let's incorporate the two. I wanted to be able to take the race out of my name, because I wanted, you know, even though I'm not in any shape, form, or fashion feel any kind of way about my race, I love being black, but I didn't want the stereotypes that could possibly come with any type of thing. I wanted them to just hear the name, know that I'm a woman, but you have to judge me based off of my art instead of what you think. Because sometimes when people might hear more ethnic name for an artist, they just assume that we do a lot of black art, so that there's going to be a lot of Martin Luther King paintings or things of that nature. Right. And I have really all of the playground. Like, I've done paintings for like black culture, but then I've also done stuff for like women, you know, women's culture and women's rights and things of that nature. I've done some for like Native Americans and Egyptians.
What moment is there that whenever you think about this moment from your past, it always makes you bust out laughing?
The time I almost blew up my apartment.
Oh boy.
I left a pot in there and it turned rancid, and then it grew life.
What?
And I did not realize that certain things can make creatures up from themselves, all right? Bacteria can make bugs, right? So I open the oven and I look in there and I'm like, oh my God, there's maggots in here, and I'm flipping out. And it was like 5 of us in the house. I cut the oven on and I grabbed some Lysol. And I opened up the oven and my friend said, no, bitch, you gonna kill us. And she snatched the Lysol out of my hand, and that still makes me laugh to this day. I still crack up about it. I was like, I hate creepy crawly things so bad. I just not thinking, but that was one of the things that made me laugh the most.
What are some things you live by, some sayings or adages?
One of the things I find myself saying often are, ye are gods. You know, I do feel like each individual person is a god, right? And no matter what your spiritual background, everyone feels like they're made in God's image, you know, no matter who you worship to. And with that being said, I always look at it as like the Egyptians or the Greeks, right? So when the gods made other gods that might not have been 100% God, they were still considered demigods, but it still didn't take away that they were still considered gods.
Right.
And that's how I view all of us as like demigods. So you need to, you know, carry yourself accordingly. You need to be the master of your own destiny. You need to figure out the law of attraction and make it work in your favor. Be the God that you are. Be the goddesses that you are.